Welcome to The Terrible Take, a daily segment telling Steelers Nation what's on our mind. I'm Ross McCorkle. All offseason, the Pittsburgh Steelers have seemed to be locked in on the defensive line position group for this draft. Starting with the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama, Mike Tomlin followed that group around and stood right over their drills every day he was at practice, appearing to get a pretty good look. With Cam Hayward in the final years of his career and Larry Ogunjobi now out the door, a top defensive lineman seemed to make sense as one of the big priorities all along. Was that all overly assumptive? What we do know is that Omar Khan and Andy Weidel have been building from the inside out. They invested heavily in the offensive line for the last 2 years, and so it only makes sense to bolster the defensive line, especially after what the Eagles accomplished in the Super Bowl and what happened to the Steelers' run defense down the stretch last season. The only issue is 21 out of the 30 allotted pre-draft visitors have now been reported, and most of the pro day trail is now out of the way, and none of their actions have necessarily screamed that they will be selecting a defensive lineman in the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft. Just last year, Troy Fautanu was a pre-draft visitor and Pat Meyer was at his pro day. Zach Frazier was a pre-draft visitor and assistant offensive line coach Isaac Williams was at the Big 12 pro day. Even Mason McCormick in the fourth round was a pre-draft visitor. Everybody but Roman Wilson and Ryan Watts were visitors last year. The Steelers do not hide their interest in players, and especially not in the first round. Of the defensive linemen they have or are reported to be hosting sometime in the near future are J.J. Pegues, Yahya Black, Joshua Farmer, Elijah Roberts, Jamari Caldwell, and Shamar Stewart. Stewart told me straight up at the Senior Bowl that he is an edge rusher and that teams have not inquired about him adding weight. The rest are day 3 guys other than Joshua Farmer, who I would guess will go sometime between the Steelers' first and third round picks. Unless those final 9 pre-draft visitors are guys like Kenneth Grant, Derek Harmon, Walter Nolan, Alfred Collins, or others, I think it's time to start thinking about throwing other positions in the first round of our collective mock drafts. Be sure to follow us at SteelersDepot.com and check out episodes of The Terrible Take every day at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And check out The Terrible Podcast with Dave Bryant and Alex Kozora every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.